Hey, welcome back to the Fire Rescue Wellness Podcast. This is episode 94, and today I am beginning another series with Fairfax County Fire and Rescue. And my first interviewee was Deputy Chief Brian Edmonston. His bio is incredible, and I'm going to link it in the show notes so you can see all of the things that he has accomplished in his career. But in 2020, he was assigned to the Health and Wellness section in the Office of the Fire Chief, and currently, Deputy Chief Edmonston is assigned as the Executive Officer in the Office of the Fire Chief. We talked a lot about the program at Fairfax and how it has taken 25 years, a quarter of a century, for them to get where they are today. So one of the messages that he shared was, you have to have a vision and you have to have patience. You're going to love this episode. A couple reminders: please make sure, give us a rating and a review and share the episode with someone who might enjoy it. And then also don't forget to download the free PDF that's in the show notes regarding doing a needs assessment for your department. Thanks for listening and have a great day. Thank you for joining me on the Fire Rescue Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, AZ. I find the research and resources and then provide the fire service with the so what, now what, to ensure the health and well-being of every member of our profession. Together, let's thrive. Fire Rescue Wellness Podcast listeners, welcome back for another episode. And today I am joined by Brian Edmonston from Fairfax County. Please say hello to the listeners.
Hello, listeners.
Yes, the enthusiasm is there. I love it. So I'm hoping, my fingers are crossed, you've heard Megan Lautz on the podcast, not once, not twice, but 3 times, maybe 4 now, so many times. I'm hoping to probably get Megan back on too, because she's part of that whole situation in Fairfax, hoping for their athletic trainer and some other personnel. But today we're starting with the head honcho, and I'm going to get to know you by asking you some questions. So the first question is, who is Brian?
So myself, I've been with Fairfax County for 21 years. I recently promoted it to deputy chief here at the training academy. Lifelong, came out of college, was hired, and been with Fairfax since then. I'm a paramedic. I've been part of the USAR team here. I've done some graduate degree work, and it's kind of brought me, through my path, how those doors open to, one was my previous position as executive officer in the Office of the Fire Chief, but which that big component was health and wellness for us.
Amazing. And next I want to know, what sets your soul on fire?
One is the ability to think creatively, to solve difficult situations, and to find efficiencies in systems that maybe we didn't look at initially. So another part is taking care of our own. I want to see all of us go home healthy, safe, and a lot of different mantras out there that have that. One of the things that sits in my mind too, I'm also I sit on the retirement board for our uniform services, and I want to challenge the actuaries. I want to make them work hard to keep our fund funded, and a lot of that is back to that health and wellness component, or now even today where I sit as the chief training officer.
I love that goal, because I have exactly 10 more shifts until I get to retire, and I am hoping to bleed our pension dry. So I'm going to live to be like 104 years old, and I'm still going to be like a cool old lady. So that is my goal, and I'm glad that that's your goal too. And then,
congratulations. That's awesome. That's close.
It is close. I'm crossing my fingers, because we respond to the I-355 and I-88 international speedways, not tollways, speedways. And those drivers are actively trying to kill us every time we go out. So I'm hoping to make it out alive. 10 more shifts, cross the fingers.
It's close. You got it.
It's close. Yeah, it's close. The last question is, how are you changing the world?
I did take a listen to a lot of other folks that did, and I would agree. I think is, you change it one step at a time, incremental adjustments. but we all have the opportunity to really make a dent. And I think I steal that from Steve Jobs, but like, can you go out there and make a dent in the world? And that's what I've really just set my goals on it. And even today, with that, I would say to be creative in your thinking, to be bold, to to lean in, fall forward, all those different cliche terms.
I usually save this question till close to the end, but because you are a big agency and many of the agencies out there are not big agencies, the immediate, I guess, answer to the question, why are you not providing health and wellness services, is we're too small. We can't afford it. So I would love to start with, what is your agency comprised of? How big is it? And how do you afford it?
That's a great question. And one, we're really fortunate back to be one of the 10 initial part of the Wellness Fitness Initiative set forth by the IAFF and IAFC. We have some legacy members, Pat Morrison, got to give a quick shout out to, I think instrumental, or I know instrumental still in the IAFF and the Health and Wellness Committees there. And even our Fire Chief, John Butler, and executive staff with the IAFC now, his presidency, continue to push this. And so what we've done coming up has really been them giving me a pretty good leash to go out there and figure out how to be creative in that piece. And I know I say that term a few times, but it's thinking differently as we talk in these small departments. And instead of fighting for finite resources, maybe against other public safety agencies or other departments, is working together. Collaboration, you hear that too throughout. And those aren't just throw down terms. Those are real things that matter. So our department is 2,000 personnel, career and professional staff, with a mix of volunteers there. We service over 400 square miles, 120,000 incidents a year, and we stay busy, 3 shifts, 56-hour schedule. But we face similar challenges, maybe just on a bigger scale in some cases, or having to be smarter with how we move funding around. We're from apparatus purchasing to taking care of our people.
You just put this really well in perspective. You have a dietitian, which is amazing, but she has to cover 400 square miles. That's incredible. You nailed it. It's problems and challenges. We'll just say challenges on a larger scale at a larger agency. And even though the money is possibly more readily available, everything's just on a bigger scale. Genius. Tell me how your agency got to be one of those original 10 that were involved in the Wellness and Fitness Initiative. Elaborate on that.
So that ties into, when you're thinking small, large, there's always the relationships that you got to build with labor management, and even then to your collective political bodies, right? Your board of supervisors, however they might be, city councils, and those that are out there willing to have those conversations and to make their pitch, to sell their story, to explain the why. So I'm talking about building that consensus together and then going out there and trying to solve the problem. Again, the problem's not going to be solved all in one fell swoop, but how can you start building one part, then another part, with that long-term vision down the road? Keeping an eye in the rear view. I'm a car guy. I use that, so you might hear some analogies with that, but the windshield's big for a reason. Keep big, broad vision going forward, figure out how to navigate where you got to go, but keep looking back and say, hey, how can we do it better? Have that assessment back on yourselves. Is this working, not working? And be willing to make those changes too and adapt, right? Improvise, adapt, overcome. We all hear that in the fire service.
I've heard this theme of constant self-assessment within both health and wellness programs, within leadership. It just keeps coming up. So I think maybe we should probably highlight that one so that we remember to do that self-assessment. So how long has your agency been providing services? I guess I could say, how long have they been providing any services? And then how long have they been providing services on the scale in which you are providing them today?
So a lot of that early work was done in the mid to late 90s to get our occupational health center started off. And that was a huge win, something that we are very proud of, remain proud of. But one of the things that really sets us apart, I think, in the industry, and we're so lucky to have that So in this, let's just make it easy for numbers. Like, so 2000, turn of the decade, turn of the century, um, we were really good at the physical side. We were doing CPAT, candidate physical agility exams, giving pre-entry hire physicals, and then continuing that physical process all throughout. And then we were asking our OC health program to do a lot. So each iteration of that contract or the evaluation of our occupational health program led to one more thing. Okay, let's add a nutritionist. Let's add a part-time strength and conditioning coach. Let's add this next piece, this next scan. What can we do with grants? And then down the road to where we are today, really when I took the helm in the office and at the time of COVID, and being well versed and being a customer of our occupational health programs and our peer support programs and everything else, it's like, hey, what can we do? Simple SWOT analysis between each grouping. That thought, instead of siloing off, bringing people together at the table to have conversations, productive conversations and discourse to really drive to have a better informed conversation and then a better informed decision making at the end of the day, and say, hey, how are we going to move our resources around to make this happen?
And COVID was right around the time Megan started, wasn't it? So
Megan
she had to get real creative.
Yeah. We were very fortunate to hire Megan to advance our strength and conditioning program with we have 2 strength and conditioning coaches now, partnership with our continued partnership and growth with our public safety agencies, and even bringing our police department or working with them. Not bringing sounds like we're leading, but we are leading the way. But they've come right there with us to help support and be a part of our program too, and also we're learning from them.
One of the things that many agencies attempt to do, because they just want to do something, and so many agencies attempt to use peer fitness trainers. And I think there's a lot of pressure on those peer fitness trainers when there isn't really anyone to sort of lead them. So it's these people that are firefighters by trade who went to a class and now they're trying to approach health and wellness for the entire department. And I think one thing I saw on your press packet, you have an incredible number of peer fitness trainers, but I think the even more incredible piece of it is that you have so many competent people to manage those peer fitness trainers. Do you see that as a benefit, having those peer trainers as force multipliers?
Yeah, absolutely. We thought very similar along the lines of thinking, where we wanted the SMEs in place, like whether Jake Patton's our strength and conditioning coach. So maybe a future podcast there. We wanted to have this umbrella on each of these entities, like so that our staff, our personnel, our uniform personnel, did not get outside their scope, right? And scope's pretty broad. What does that mean? But we also wanted the credibility for the uniform to be working integrated within that strength and conditioning program. So we have peer fitness coaches on that hand, and we bring them in, we train them. Many of our members are TSAC certified. We're looking at some creative ways how to not put everyone through the TSAC course, but just have like a trainer with our strength and conditioning coach to help force multiply basically. But then we disperse this information and have this consistent message going across. And that was the same thing we really did too with our peer support team members. So on the behavioral health side, we had initially, prior to COVID, was an embedded, I don't want to call it, we had an enhanced EAP program. And there was always like some fallacies, like or some weak points there, where the EAP program, you might not get someone who's familiar with a public safety lifestyle, fire and rescue lifestyle, understanding the shift work and the demands of the job, or kind of what we see in that vicarious trauma. So we were really fortunate and made some big moves there on that end. And we now have 5 clinicians, adding 2 more clinicians, and so we have what we call an embedded clinical services there that are available 24/7 for our personnel. And then underneath that, again, that umbrella is our peer support team. And so the same thing, that peer support can get out there, and there's many ways to filter through, but somebody's coming to this expert, whether it's Megan, our dietitian, Jake, the strength and conditioning, or V or Daniel, our director, really overseeing these clinicians. And not to take up the podcast, name everybody's names, but they are so important, and we were so aware of building credibility and rapport with our credibility with our people and the rapport with our folks. So we wanted to get more in that proactive mindset, instead of just sitting back reactively waiting for someone to come to us. I think we've really done a great job at doing that.
That's incredibly important because our job in the fire service is literally to react to incidents and mitigate them. Chief Baker from South Metro calls it a giant game of whack-a-mole, which is perfect. But we can't think about being reactive when it comes to health and wellness, whether mental and physical. So proactive, another message that we need to keep preaching. Also, as a side note, you may want to contact our mutual friend, Megan and I have a friend whose name is Vanessa. She is the strength and conditioning coach for Pflugerville Fire in Texas, but she is currently building out that train the trainer model. They just got it started and she's amazing. So we'll put you in contact with Vanessa because that'll like short circuit your whole process, make it a lot shorter.
No, we love. I think these. We mentioned early on, large, small departments. We all can learn from each other. Small departments actually can be more creative in the end because they're figuring out different ways to do things where we might have a deeper pocket to be able to fund certain things. But I love that idea. We're also available, happy to speak to anybody, tell about what we're doing and kind of where our mindset is. But you do hear common themes with all the speakers. And a shout out to South Metro, and maybe we'll start a little friendly competition between the East Coast and the Midwest to see what we can do.
Perfect. And then we can add Vanessa with Pflugerville in there too, because they're doing amazing things. I did think of one question as you were talking about having the subject matter experts sort of supervising your peer trainers. This has been a concern of mine for years. I can't say that it's actually that my concern has come to fruition, but I think it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time until a peer fitness trainer is programming for a candidate and they overdo it, they become dehydrated, they get rhabdo, or the peer fitness trainer is programming exercises for someone and, as a result, the candidate becomes injured. I think it's only a matter of time. And so now talking industry-wide, how would you sort of flavor your messaging to the administrations that they should maybe be thinking about this a little bit? Like, this is a real thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're firefighters. We do all kinds of crazy, brave, badass stuff, out there. And our mindset is to go, hard. And that's what you really want from a firefighter. You want to be able to, like, for me as a chief officer, command officer, is, it's easier to pull the reins back a little bit, right? Versus like trying to kick somebody into something. But within that same mindset, what we're not very good at, and I'll pick on the Apple Watch for a second, but it doesn't ever tell you to take a break or to do load management, right? And to really think about this, and what we've been really cognizant in the last 3 years of is holistic health and wellness. So mind, body, and spirit, and modeling like in the sports psychology, the sports methodology to how they apply this. The differences though would be like, we're talking about 25 years versus, a career that could be 4 years in college or, 10 years in the pros, whatever, but we're talking about 25 years. So how do we do this for 25 years to avoid these injuries? And the fire department is going to beat you up. There's few of us that'll walk away without something wear and tear, in our 20, 25 year careers, however they are. So to be aware of that, I think you mentioned in one of your podcasts about, we put a lot of money in apparatus and we do PMs on them and all that stuff. We need to shift that focus because our bodies wear out in similar fashion. And that automobile thing, I think, hopefully connects with folks pretty easily. Like, you go get your oil change, you do maintenance for a reason. And, back to that load management concept, which I think is so key, which we talk about sleep, diet, instead of just like your hardcore strength and conditioning exercises or your CrossFit and all that stuff, is to like mix in some flexibility training, some yoga, some more mindful rest and all that stuff to slow down that. But it's really hard that's not who we are. We're out there, we're doing it.
24/7, 365 with our hair on fire is what makes us happy.
Yes,
And
100%.
then we work, which is high adrenaline, and then some of us get off shift, and some of us, not me, but ride motorcycles, skydive, all of those things. Like,
How many
let's
have a hobby that's out exactly? They go back out and doing like skiing. They're active. We're active people, and that's a great thing. That's the strength of who we are and our ethos. And it's one of the greatest appreciations I have. Something that you talk about, like what I want is taking care of our people, because we are, I think, some of the finest people on this planet.
Yeah. People that are willing to help other people in need are incredible. And we just
Day
have
in
to
and
take
day
care
out.
of them.
Yeah,
Take
day
care
in
of
and
them.
day out.
I have a car analogy for you. I think you're going to like it. If you knew that you would only get one car ever in your life, you couldn't get another new car. You have to make this one car last for your entire life. You would take such good care of it. The oil changes and the getting the salt off of it in Illinois, and the waxing and the washing and whatever, transmission, all of the things. If you knew you only got one car, why don't we think about our bodies that way? Because that's literally what we get, one body.
That's yeah. It's so one of the big components too, also, and I think good for all departments, is to think about the educational component. It could be like educating how to work out, how to eat better. Some of that is just information. Working with each member of our team, we started I call it a magazine, but a really simple periodical that went out to the stations, incorporated through, and I think other big departments do something similar, but a basic health and wellness component. And it didn't give answers, but it would give ideas like, here are your experts, here are your SMEs, hear from the staff that's here to support you. Whether it's about vitamin D from our occupational health docs, or Megan telling you how to eat better, eat healthier, fast, make better bad choices. I think it's like to say, or we'll tweak it a little bit sometimes and say optimizing performance. From Jake saying, hey, family box workout drill over the holidays, to keep your body moving and all this stuff amongst the downtime and the plentiful bounty of food and everything. So, and then even to our physical therapists, saying, and our behavioral health clinicians. So that was really a big component. We took each component and we wanted to share a message consistently with those common themes, and then help drive curiosity to get someone, as we know, back into the psychological component, or that the psyche is getting someone to key in on that. Like, you only have one body, and we see it over time. Our, firefighters, IARC recently had class 1 cancer certification, or not certification, but recognition, which is huge. We see it here personally in Fairfax County. We're, again, not immune to anything else. We have some of the best gear and equipment in the nation, but our folks still develop cancer, and the same cardiovascular disease. You got to take care of the heart. And so, again, that holistic piece, that mind, body, spirit working together, is what can we do to prevent, in that proactive mindset again, right? How do we prevent a line of duty death, one of our retirees from having not being able to challenge the bleed the retirement dry or whatever else, and I think that's a wonderful challenge and a great opportunity, and hopefully more people can continue to hear the message and appreciate the work that you're doing to share this out there.
And I'm guilty of this. So you said message, and I'm just going to change it to messaging. I'm guilty of giving a message and just assuming that everyone heard it and applied it and implemented it. But really, my friend Shante says, once is never. If you say something once, you might as well never say it, because people didn't hear it. And I'm guilty of this too. 20 years ago, I was getting a massage, and the massage therapist said, wow, you don't breathe very well. You don't use your diaphragm when you're breathing, and you're really chest breathing. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Well, guess what? I had to hear that like 20 more times before I, as a fitness professional, did anything about it. Once is never. So we have to keep messaging.
A lot of that too, back to any department working on this, is patience and perseverance. You heard a little bit of our timeline. I mean, 25 years, a quarter of a century working at this, and having all these resources, but it didn't happen overnight.
I needed to hear that myself. I really did. because
I
I
need to
was
hear
just,
it too. It's back to our person. I want to go, go, go. And it's like, whoa, wait.
well, I was talking to my battalion chief yesterday. It's kind of cute. We've always gotten along really well. He's my lieutenant when I started. He's my captain. Now he's my battalion chief, but it's becoming quite evident to him that I am leaving. And so he's making more of an effort to, come around, sit down and talk. And you know what he said yesterday? He said, I was thinking about the huge impact that you've made at this department. And in my head, I was like, I have made no impact at all. Nothing has ever made a difference. And he's like, no, that's absolutely not true. And he started giving examples. So patience is a virtue that firefighters don't have.
It's and that's not a slight against that. Cause like, I just think it's important in that when you're in the strategic planning and thinking phase, because ingrained in us, if you think like from the recruit school out, is like go, 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 right? And then when the tones drop, you go. And that's a shift in the mindset a little bit when you're talking about these big picture items, developing health wellness programs and making that difference. And then I like what you're saying too. Everybody makes a difference. It's just, where do you want to apply yourself, and how do you what interests you, and where can you make that difference?
Amen. Louder for the folks in back. All right. I want to now talk to you about, because we kind of talked about your timeline, we talked about the services, but now I want to kind of feel you out and find out what it looks like to work with the Fairfax County Health and Wellness Division if you are a recruit. So I am brand new. I just started today. What sort of help, support, and interventions am I getting as a recruit?
Yeah, wonderful question. We one of our things to start off with was like, okay, how do we implement the program with this education component? Realizing even in time generational changes, experiences out there, like how do we plant the seeds for the growth in the future for, again, that 25-year career estimated, whatever. So with the recruit coming in, one of the best things about our department, and when people come in, we treat you as an athlete. We're going to bring you in. You get a full physical, or Cadillac physical, executive type physical. So see exactly where you are, what's going on, take a look at your heart, and then bring you into the academy. When you start up here, we're going to put you in a strength and conditioning program with our strength and conditioning coaches and peer fitness coaches. You'll be introduced to Megan, and our dietitian comes in at 3 different points in the thing, checks on you. We do weigh in, weigh out, especially on like days for hydration. We're checking those, real system functions, to see like, okay, are you hydrating? Are you eating? Are you losing too much weight? Are we overtraining in certain aspects? And then our behavioral health component too. We're bringing in our peer support team, or even our clinicians to come talk to and say, hey, we're here for you. And then all the while, that's all bolstered by our basic training staff, who do an excellent job of really learning about the people, really learning about who you are, what we're building, and how we meet that mission of that, simply put, as life safety, insulin stabilization, and property conservation, and then just tying that all together.
And so I had the unfortunate experience of getting an injury during the academy. So just minor sprain, strain, something like that. Where is my path now?
Your path here for the injuries, we want to still take care of you. That it will depend on the significance of the injury, and how long would you be out for, and as far as classes or time. We have a pretty tight deadline, as many academies, like 5 or 6 months, meeting the JPRs to get someone back out to or get someone to clear to be in a probationary year. But we do a lot of work to prevent the injury in the first place and to ensure that you're taken care of. And then to that point, the same thing, not overtraining, not throwing in sprint workouts, for example, at the end of after end of a suppression training. And we balance it all out. So it's all you're supported throughout your entire recruit school, and then your entire 25-year career.
One of the mistakes, I guess, that I keep seeing over and over in academies, and it sounds like you're not making it, so it's wonderful, but there's this whole, we have to break them down so that then we can build them back up. But the problem is the people that are breaking them down are truly just breaking them, and then they can't build them back up. And so I've tried to give this message. Even people I know have told me, yeah, we just have to drive them into the ground so they know what they're getting into. And so I'm trying to spread the message like that's not the way. Do you have any words of advice for those instructors that think that being that tough on the recruits is important?
I think like again, you asked about this before, but it's like all of like it's our people, and the people are our most valuable asset, our trusted asset, and they're going to remember their academy, their time in the academy's recruit school for their career. And you can still challenge them, you can build them, you can be tough on them, but you don't have to break anybody down, and that's never our goal. We for our recent recruit school just started in the middle of January, and first thing, I wanted to go down and speak with them and just tell them, like, we welcome you. We're ready to train you, and this is a remarkable journey. It's going to require dedication, courage, commitment. We're going to challenge you. You're going to have some tough days, but we're also going to be right there with you and support you, and we're going to give you all the resources you need to succeed. And I think that's what's going to make departments much better, have much better employees, much more resilient, right? Whether we talk health and wellness or stuff, and they're going to appreciate that. And I think that the generation of folks coming in today really want to know the why, like what are we doing this all for? And that's where our work at the academy, I work at any academy across the nation, also to your health wellness programs, are really explaining like this is why you're doing this with elite fire departments.
I remember specifically that was one question that 20 years ago we weren't allowed to ask. If you asked why, you were going to be in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's so important that message of, yes, you can ask why, and we will justify the reasoning behind anything that we have to do. And if we can't justify it, we better change it. I think it's important. So now I made it out of recruit school, out of my probationary year, and I'm an incumbent firefighter, been on the department 2 to 10 years, something like that. How do I best utilize your services if I am an incumbent firefighter?
So we start off, we have our program for us, like we have done evaluations. We used to do work performance every couple of years, and every year as we evolve, we shifted that, realizing some gaps in actually identifying or evaluating where our fitness was, right? So we built a fitness measurement assessment program, and similar to like what you would call a President Fitness Challenge. And I know some people would have concerns or hear, and there's not really a perfect tool for measuring assessment. What we're always trying to do is to inform, to educate. Kind of the WFI is the non-punitive way, but hey, there's some things happening, or you have an injury. Let's help you out. Let's take care of that injury before it becomes, a shoulder tear or rotation that really, requires the surgery and stuff. So we're going to be with them the whole time. We set up from our programs, again, the educational component. We have, you're given a physical every year. It's required. You have to have a physical every year through Occupational Health Center. It's one of those executive type physicals, or Cadillac physical, as the term might be. And you're evaluated very thoroughly there with them. Hearing, vision, blood work, Bruce protocol, treadmill. So really a great physical when you come in. We also, at that same point, we'll have the fitness measurement assessment there too, which is a challenge. We'll kind of give you a scoring rate, see where you are, along with the in-body, give you some coaching there to see if we see some numbers that are getting askew from where the norm would be, and then to then provide resources and push those resources down, and referral process kind of that's already occurring normally as you would see in a doctor's office. So our docs are engaged with us. We do in-service training with them. We bring them together with with Megan, again, our strength and conditioning coach, Jake, our behavioral health stuff. So we're all in a line, because a lot of this, again, is tied together. If as we know, obesity is a real challenge, not only for the general population, but also us. But what's happening? What's causing that? Is there an alcoholism in the background, or is there something else that's happening? So the whole idea is to shift this, again, forward-leaning, proactive, catch people early, but we're going to be there. All these sources are available. All these resources are available throughout your entire career. It doesn't matter 2 to 10 years or 10 to 25 years. They're going to be there.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. And now here comes the whopper. Now I'm injured. So I am injured on duty. Let's just say it's a minor, again, sprain strain. What is the path for me? Do I go straight to occupational health? Do I see your athletic trainer? How does that work?
So we take, so we work two different ways. Like in both ways, you can basically get the same outcome, but if it's by on-duty injury or off-duty injury. So if it's an on-duty injury, we run you through the docs here at the hospitals, large hospital system, come back in, start working with risk management, figure out coverages and all that stuff, start that whole process. When's the next, X-ray, MRI needed, and services there. Off duty, you're kind of on your own, but at the same time, we want to bring you back into our program. We do really believe, whether again off duty or on duty injuries, being part of this program, being part of what we have established, is going to get people back, keep them engaged, keep them informed of all the daily stuff that's going on, not just let them sit at home, get them back here working with us, and then in that recovery. We have a physical therapist in-house that can start there working on any injury you can think of. Anything that works is excellent. And also we have an athletic trainer, Anna Sidori, who's there to help out, to kind of continue that process going on. And we're really underway or creating a director of rehab position and program where looking at a way to mobilize medicine faster, in a way to get our people back to the field where they really want to be. They don't want to be sitting at a desk answering phones or typing away on an email. So that's our whole goal. But it's all about the person and how they heal. We're not looking to get ahead of something. We're not pushing them out the norms. All back to those questions you had, but keeping them engaged. And we do believe too, like if you're keeping the bodies moving, the other three parts of the body. Let's say you have a bad wheel. The other three parts of the body, we can still train the other three parts, and the body's going to be that much better to go. And then prior to all the work that we're doing in the front load side with the strength and conditioning programs, the dietitian programs, you're going to heal that much faster as a result too, and be that much ready to get back to work. So all of it is working intertwined, interconnected, and really all cogs in that wheel.
360 degrees.
Yeah, 360
all the way around. Well, I was super excited when I got your email the other day. When we were just chatting back and forth kind of about our topics, and you said that you would love to talk about recruitment and retention. And I'm going to turn the mic over to you in 1 second, but I have been beating this drum and screaming and playing my trumpet and saying, if departments have a comprehensive health and wellness program and services and take care of their employees, it is going to be a recruitment and retention tool. And you're the first person that's been like, yeah. So the mic is yours. Tell me it all.
This is, our health and wellness program, just like this, I'm thinking about like an athletics program, like when a student or somebody's looking to go play somewhere, like, hey, what does the program have? What does it have to offer? We've identified, continue to develop, and have brought resources to here to show you how we can take care of not only you, but your family throughout. And I think, again, we talk about our second family, but we're even taking it outside of the fire station, right, to make sure we take care of not only your family, but also the second family and across the board. We talked about this too, like the firefighters are out there doing some of the bravest work ever. There's a camaraderie that's second to none that, when you're working out there in the stations and the relationships you build. And for our people that are dedicating their lives to protecting the community, their property in the community, the saving lives community, we want to give that back to them, give back to the reason of why you're here, why this is such a great job, but we're going to take care of you. We're not just going to leave you out there. So whether it's an orthopedic injury, it's cancer, it's cardiovascular disease, we're going to be right there with you. We're going to support you. We're going to evaluate it early, take care of you. And that's what this whole program is designed to do. And so that you're strong and even stronger when you come back, and ready to go for that next, fire, auto accident, medical call that you're called upon.
This might be a tough question. So let me put this in perspective. When I took the a test to get on the list. There were 600 people taking the test. Now, it was a couple departments together, but there were 600 people taking the test. And some of the departments said, we have one position, maybe. There were people that scored in the top 10 or 20 on that list and never got hired. So that's what it used to look like. Now we're having 20 people take out our application and maybe 7 or 8 or 10 people actually on our list. And this is pretty much pervasive in Illinois. So that's the perspective I have. Are you in Fairfax and the surrounding area? Are you experiencing recruitment and retention challenges at this time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not uncommon in the fire service today, no matter where you are. For example, like when I was hired 20 years ago, Fairfax is and was then still the largest player, but our other our friends out there in the other counties, surrounding agencies, they're getting big too. They're growing. The suburbia is expanding, urbanization as we see across the board, and there's real needs for services. So one, the market has changed. There's challenges, and then two, a lot of opportunity, right? I think in the broad speak we have in the economy, we haven't seen a downturn in some time. Sometimes when people come in shelter into government work or a different exposure, the opportunities also exist within the realm of IT and just all kinds of other opportunities. So we have to be, again, that much better, showing, hey, this is what we do better. Health and wellness, as you just mentioned, I believe also is a key to that part. I can compare my buddies and everything else out there that, I'm getting a physical every year, coming out, being taken care of by by occupational health staff, the docs, everything I mentioned, that some people are going 2 or 3 years without a physical. And it's just what a benefit that this is to look out for ourselves, again, the why you're putting yourself out there, why you're serving the community, and then how we're going to return that back. So kind of sum that up. But yes, we are facing this similar challenges. We have a vacancies rate that really hasn't been seen before, but we're really working quickly to correct that, to be better with recruitment itself, to market ourselves better, to apply that business acumen that I think is also needed too for fire and rescue services to be more competitive.
So in addition to the health and wellness services, you said better marketing and better education. So what does that look like? Have you made like flashy TikTok posts, or how are you doing it better?
We're doing it. Not. I don't know about TikTok, actually. That's a good question with all the things, but we're definitely using Instagram, LinkedIn messaging that goes out. We're some of the things, the grassroots efforts too, right? Engaging we have a big staff of people already. Get out there, recruit, spread the word, highlight what we do, making sure, again, that consistent messaging also is there too about all the services that are offered. Flyers that easy to display, like starting salaries, benefits, retirements, and being smarter too with data collection. Our recruitment section has done a really great job getting ahead of this, really starting to identify things where it was, like you mentioned, it was easy before. 1,000 applications come in, people just now we're having to go out and find out, okay, where's the hot spot? Where can we go do this? And so I sit on a recruitment work group right now, and there's 5 or 6 of these that just got started up, but we're just trying to evaluate different things. Who are the career change for me personally is like athletes maybe in high school or colleges, and then also looking at career changers. Who else is out there? We see that sometimes the people that want to come back and look to do just something different. So I think did I answer your question there? Probably I probably rambled a second too.
Yeah, no, and I think the biggest thing you said is weaponizing. You didn't say weaponizing. That came in my head, but weaponizing your own people. So if your own people on a fundamental level aren't happy and well and satisfied, they're not going to be your best advertising agency. In fact, they can be your anti-advertising agency. So you got to take care of the people that you have and keep them. And then, yes.
Yeah, we have mandatory overtime, and we have some things that we're working to correct by getting the recruitment, and why recruitment retention is so important. And you want to always maintain that esprit de corps out there, that positive energy culture, and our customers are broad. They're internal customers, are the people like myself and those in the department, the firefighters in the department, the ones that wear the uniform, and then also the external customer that we serve, the community, and then who we're trying to bring back in. So like it's really creating, I think, some good thoughts, some really good discussion on how to maintain relevant in the communities, in the market, in the in the places that we serve.
Yes, so important. Okay, so here's the choose your own adventure. The adventure number 1 is we should have gone down a rabbit hole and I totally forgot. Adventure number 2 is some sage parting words of wisdom, and some people choose both adventures, so you can also choose both. The mic is yours.
Those are good questions. Thinking here, I think you talking about I'll take it back into the health wellness realm and to all the things that we've done in 25 years, and to really express gratitude and being fortunate to stand on the shoulders of those that came before me, but being able to recognize, to be expand the vision, to be broader, and to seek opportunities. We have been able to build a lot in the last few years, but that took a lot of analysis, a lot of teamwork, collaboration, and networking. I think that's really important too. Out there, again, I mentioned that labor management grouping and stuff. Finding your advocates out there, your champions, and all that stuff. Getting that message together, building that out, and also being willing to listen a lot, and figure out, okay, what's needed? What are the resources that we need to do? Do we need a strength and conditioning coach first, or do we need a dietitian first, or what are those things, or do we need a OCMED program somewhere? So being willing to do this analysis, willing to develop that, and then apply a business mindset of being bold, to get out there, to be efficient, and to make these changes, and realize you're going to run into some roadblocks. But again, that creativity comes back in, where, okay, this might not be working, but continue to shift and to figure out those avenues where, it's an old analogy too, but where the windows are open, when the window's open a little bit, see if you can push that window open a little bit more and see what they're going to take. And if not today, maybe tomorrow, or wait. And then, we talk right back, be patient, and you will persevere. You will succeed. It just takes time.
You said another magic word, which is vision. And I think that that's something that some of the departments do lack. They understand they need it, they want it, but they don't have the vision, and they don't know how to get started. That was good. That was really good. All right. I have the most important burning question for me, always on my podcast. I want to talk about dogs. Do you have a dog?
I have a dog, yes.
Yes. Tell me all about your dog. We have dogs
here too. We have canine therapy dogs, but I have a dog also, yes.
Oh, okay. We'll get to your dog in a second. Let's talk about the canine therapy dogs. Tell me all about them.
So some of the things again, walking with others before had started the program, we made some shifts, but we brought in a therapy canine, really began to build the program. And we have Wally, Labrador Poodle mix. We have Xander, who is also Labrador Poodle mix. And then we have George, who's I don't know. I'm going to call him a mutt, but he's a little guy that comes around, and they're great. The therapy canine program has been amazing. They are with our handlers, who are part of our peer support team, and also uniformed firefighters. So they're out there in the field. We use them as you would think. If someone just wants to hang out with the canine, we bring them around, and if not, they're just out there to spread goodwill and cheer. And that's been a great ambassador for the fire department itself, and just the programs overall. So we're really proud to have them as part of the team with us.
I think if we would have had a therapy dog at my department, I wouldn't have gotten a lick of work done in the last 20 years.
It's hard not to go touch them, but it is true. Like they say, they do change the room, and they all key in too. Why they're with the peer support team folks is they can key in when someone's in a anxious state or a troubled state. They'll pick up on it. and we've seen it in action, or bring them into our behavior or our wellness center where they can go meet with or be in a session with somebody. So it's an amazing, effective tool out there too.
I love them so much. Okay, now let's get to your dog. Let's hear all about it.
All right. So I have a Frenchie, and her name's Lila Bean, and she is as sweet as ever. Even initially on, I was a little, my girlfriend and I was a little shy about, or not shy, I was a little concerned or worried about getting a Frenchie, some of the airway things and stuff. And then, long story short, anyways, she's been beautiful, amazing, and just a really smart and just great personality. And she's a lilac and tan. So she's special. Yeah, she's a good little girl.
All right, you have one more obligation for this podcast, and that is to send me a picture of not only your dog, but the therapy dogs too.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah.
And Megan Lautz, if you're listening, she always listens. Megan, I cannot believe you didn't tell me that there were therapy dogs.
Well, I'll work on that one next time.
Oh my gosh, that should be on your presentation here. Or maybe it is. Maybe I didn't see it. Well, I appreciate so much your time, and I'll make sure and put your contact information that you provided in the show notes in case there's any departments out there that have any questions. And then Anna has already said yes. So Anna's coming on the podcast. She's not booked yet. That's the athletic trainer. Probably get Megan again because she's just a sucker for being on the podcast. And then I will reach out to Jake. Actually, I'll probably text him right after this and see if he wants to. Jake is high energy, though. I'm going to probably have to caffeinate a lot before Jake.
Oh, yeah. Jake's great. You're going to love him. Anna's great, too. And then, we'll send you more. It's great to share this message. Thank you for doing this and being out there. This is good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciated this conversation, and we are going to drop the mic. So it's AZ and BE, and we are officially out.
Out. See you.
Out.